What's up? Welcome back to the show. You're looking to buy a brand new home. Lots of questions. I got two guests on the show who will answer all your questions through Mila, of course. But let's go. What is up, everybody? How are you guys doing? We are probably going to another lockdown, maybe not, but at least I have two friends here with me who are going to be stuck with me if we ever do get into a lockdown. It's okay. We can sit here and talk all night.
That's
we got Sean back on the show. Welcome back, Sean.
What's up, guys? Good to be back.
Sean's a YouTuber. He does property
related,
right?
yeah.
Property related videos, and he does reviews. He basically gives you advice on what things to buy, what houses to buy. I go weekend shopping at the supermarket to buy biscuits for my daughter. Sean goes weekend shopping for houses. Yeah. Don't laugh at don't I can't try to be humble. He just said that, last week I just bought two more, Yes, like nothing. That's right. And also on the show, ladies and gentlemen, we have from Mah Sing, we have Gim. Welcome on the show.
What's up? Hi. Big fan of Ginny ever since those 10 years ago, I think.
See, he's a big fan of me, but he cannot pronounce my name right. My name is Jin. Don't call me Ginny.
Sorry.
I don't grant wishes. I'm kidding. Okay. Yeah, you can call me Jin. But Gim, thank you so much. Gim is actually from Mah Sing.
Yeah.
And today's show, it's actually brought to you by Mah Sing. I just want to tell you that Mah Sing Group is now offering you a last chance to own a home with payment free up to 4 years. Okay, this campaign ends on the 31st of May. Payment free of up to 4 years.
Yep, it's superb. Right.
Why not payment free up to 30 years?
Because actually the one thing why we introduced this scheme, right? Because Maybank actually introduced a scheme called House Key. So the good thing is that, let's say if you're currently renting a house, we don't want you to have the added burden of paying for the rent and then paying for the installment of the house. So we come up with this payment free up to 4 years because the projects that we currently have will be ready in up to 2 years to 4 years. You will get your house. So the moment you get your house, obviously you need to pay your installment already.
I love his PR answer. When I ask why not 30 years? He literally rehearsed that last night, probably like 50 times in front of the mirror. But Gim, thank you so much for being on the show today.
No worries.
And thank you so much, Mah Sing, for sponsoring the show. But I think when we were having this conversation with my team and stuff like that, I think a common question that a lot of people would tend to ask these days is, hey, now I know I want to buy a house. I know I'm going to get married. I know I obviously need a roof on top of my head, be it an apartment or a landed property. But given the current situations of what we're going through right now, is it the right time to buy a house? Because, there are some people who are actually saying, hey, you know what, just don't buy a house, just rent. You know why? Because now the rental market is plummeting. You can get a really great house for a really cheap price. I myself would attest to that because I'm trying to rent my place out and everybody's coming to lowball me and say, "Can la, $5 la, can la." I say, "Go die." Yeah, but how's the market? Do you get this question, Sean? Is it better to rent or buy?
All the time.
All the time, rent or buy?
Yeah. So, but to me, I always go for the first misconception is people think that they must live in a place that they own, which is very wrong. So, and that often the time becomes the best excuse not to invest. Because again, just revision back to the previous episode, the first mistake is to buy your dream home as your first home.
Oh yeah, exactly.
So then if your dream home is that level, right, you can never achieve at your current state. Then
unless of course you're a crazy rich Asian, then it's no problem.
That one Pharma Foundation.
If you invented the vaccine for COVID-19, you can buy the whole of Mah Sing.
Yeah. but then unfortunately that becomes a very convenient excuse for youngsters to not invest at all.
Okay.
And then that leads to them missing out on whatever, because all these are headlines, but who has the real stats, right? So based on whatever we have in the office, KLCC, of course, tourism-based, Airbnb-based locations, all unfortunately affected.
Right.
But then for those addresses that are more homey, more residential focused, we don't see any great effect because people still need to stay anyway.
Right.
And MCO, right? The concept of home suddenly becomes way more emphasized.
Oh yeah, because people spend more time at home.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I don't know how many times you guys have been out, but for me, I can't even count because I've not been out. Okay, I've basically been stuck at home, and that's why we've not been doing a lot of these podcast shows because it's really tough to get people to come in the studios.
Yeah,
and when look, man, I myself have had some scares. Some people have tested positive, and then first contact, secondhand contact, and stuff like that. But going back to the whole part of like buying a house, I feel like okay, rewind when I bought my first house like 6 or 7 years ago. And I bought it and I didn't have to pay for anything until until it's completed. But now I just recently, like 3 years ago, I bought a house. Then after that, I had to service the interest.
Yep.
Then straight away when they did that, I was like, why must I pay when the house is not completed? And then the bank will be like, actually, it's like that. Yeah, I mean, it was something they call DIBS, dibs. So yeah, I got dibs last time, but now no dibs. So, yeah.
just curious, was your first house your dream home?
No. Actually, you know what? Funnily enough, when you asked that question, my first home was as good as it gets.
Yeah.
Like the fact that I could afford to get a home was already a big thing for me because like I don't come from a wealthy background. Although people like to assume that I do, whatever I post online and stuff, it's all fake, by the way. We do it just for likes. But when I first got my home, I couldn't even get my loan approved. My loan got rejected, so I had to basically ask my girlfriend back then to joint venture with me to get my loan approved, and that's why I was forced to marry her.
I see.
I love her. Yeah.
You're a dad now, right?
Yeah, I'm a dad. Yeah, Yeah, I mean, but both of me and my wife back then, we wanted to get the place, and then my wife was earning more than me. But the thing was, both of us could not get a loan individually. It's like, okay, can I get a loan? Never mind, she get a loan. Then she cannot get a loan. So both of us had to basically joint venture, to get this house. And I think like when that happened, obviously that house, even though it's not the dream house that people kind of watch online, it is our dream house because we get to finally own a house. We get to renovate it. I think like I threw about like 80,000 and 90,000 to renovate and interior design the house, and we lived there for about 6 years actually. Then we got a kid, and then I think business picked up a bit, and then I realized, hey, I kind of want to buy another place, so I moved to a bigger place. So yeah, and the place that I'm living in right now is, I will again call it kind of like my dream home because it is as good as it gets.
Yep.
I see.
Yeah. Then after you move in already, you watch YouTube, you see all these interior design architecture firm, and then all these Thailand don't know what land, whatever. Like, the inspiration to this world is to the sea that comes in from the west and the air that goes into the backyard and whatever not. It's New Zealand, and I'm like, I want that house. But that's just a dream, you know what I mean? So like, I am contented with whatever I have right now. But of course, the first time getting a house, that was tough, dude. After signing the papers, it's straight away in my mind, shit lah. Every month I have to put 3,500 ringgit. And no, it's not have to put 3,500 ringgit aside. I was telling myself, I had to go out and find 3,500 to pay my monthly installment before I could worry about other things like partying and what like that. So it was pretty stressful at that point in time.
Yep. So that whole concept, right? Like dream home, and most of the time when people, like especially couples, they walk into galleries, right?
Yeah.
And they look into the sales gallery, then they got sold, and they buy a house that they need to join name. In other words, it means you cannot afford.
Yeah.
Right. It mean in other words lah. So just imagine, right? Like let's say one party of the relationship needs to work 30 days entirely just to pay for the installment. If they have a new manager, they got new colleagues that hate them, habis. You just be a slave to the job already lah.
But yeah.
But then so I always encourage people to buy a house that can be an investment. If you have the privilege of staying with your family, especially for PJ boys or Subang boys like us lah. So we get a home, then we don't need to really pay for installment or rental. Then we can buy something for investment.
Right.
Yeah, so that will put us up in a better state because regardless where you go or how flexible your work is, right, the investment will start accumulating wealth. Yeah, if you put your money into a dream home, guess what? Unfortunately, right, like now I'm always in the auction place.
Oh.
Yeah. So a lot so-called dream homes, 7 years down the road, right? They lose money.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. That's why?
Because dream homes are usually like big landeds away. Because the Nasi Lemak properties for Malaysian is still terrace house.
Right.
And we know CBD terrace houses at least 1.2 to 1.7 million. At least. Now suburbs is already that price. Then they go further. But suddenly when they think that, okay, it's my dream house, everything is nice, but the distance to work.
Right. Okay.
And one day they just realize that they spend 3-4 hours just for traffic.
Right.
You know what? Then, okay, let's call it out. Let's call it quit. And when you put that is your dream home, not necessarily other people's one.
Okay. I see.
So there's no demand for such property. Hence, the rental will be very low. So when you rent out your dream home to people, you worry they damage your house.
Yep.
Then you want to sell, but then you still lose money.
Oh.
Unfortunately, then they become stuck.
I see.
Yeah.
Wow. That sucks, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So from a financial point of view, like then we can see a lot of like luxury homes like semi-Ds or corner lots, terrace houses in places like Kajang, and those, if you calculate versus their installment, like for a 2 million semi-D, I need to pay maybe 8,000 per month.
Yep.
But the rental is like 2.8.
Oh, that's
So those are the houses that you should rent.
Yeah. So you should rent.
wow. So that means you can rent a really decent looking house, but further away, lah, obviously.
Not really.
Oh, really?
Not really. And because a lot of people, if you can afford those kind of houses, right,
Yep.
you won't really rent out. Hence, and with such profiles, right, like I have investors with like 15, 20 different properties.
Wow.
They are still renting the place they stay.
Okay. Why? Oh, okay. So, okay. That's interesting.
Yep. So a rule that I apply to my own investment is that if I were to buy a home, the guide would be the rental price can at least cover 70 to 80% of the installment.
But a lot of people always tend to want to cover like 100% of the installment and a little bit more.
Correct.
To make money, right? But that's the dream goal, lah, obviously. But then that rarely... Does that actually happen? Does that commonly happen or it's very rare?
That commonly happens in investment-focused projects. For example, the project that is connected to the mall, connected to the train station, full of action and bustle, a lot of connectivity, a lot of people, you don't want to live there, man.
Yeah, exactly. Because like if you were to live there, it's like gone case that there's no peace and quiet.
Yeah. So those are the places with very high rental demand. Hence, I always look at rental rates because that's the best indicator for demand for space. I got no choice. I got sent to KL to work. Hence, I need to rent the location that's most convenient.
Right.
Not necessarily a very comfortable place.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's why rental is always with convenience, not with like dream.
Yeah, it's not about the design, it's about the convenience. You know, you can buy a really old looking house that looks like run down, but it's right next to KLCC. 2 million a month. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like 4,000 or 5,000 a month and stuff like that. Okay. Okay. So quite recently, I just want to sidetrack a bit. There was some news on Twitter talking about how, they wanted to basically stretch your home loan to like 60 years.
Yeah.
Okay. What are your thoughts about it?
I just wrote a post about it. Two ways to look at it.
Yeah.
One, it's why the urgency of ownership.
Right.
Like when you just accept the fact that you cannot own.
Okay.
And for me, instead of building more affordable homes, why not just go back to basics like the low cost, the medium cost? What's wrong with those?
Okay.
And because I personally, although I'm a capitalist myself, like I invest a lot of properties, but then I choose to be a responsible one.
Right. So just before we go on to this, I just want to just recap a little bit, so just in case if you're listening, you're not wondering what's going on. I think there was a very high profile person who basically introduced the plan where it allowed more affordable housing by basically stretching out your home loans to like 60 years.
Yep.
So at least your monthly repayment is a lot lower. So that's just the gist of it. Obviously, there's a lot more context to it, but this is just the surface of it. So yeah, go on.
So after introducing 60 years, right, to me, my very first concern is just like 3 years ago when we had all the Prima, Rumah Selangorku, Rumah Whip or whatsoever, right?
Yes.
The plan is good, a very populist approach, right? But then the enforcement kind of lets people down.
Right.
So instead of
The enforcement with regards to what? The 60 years.
The allocation of the right people to the right house, right?
absolutely.
Sorry. Can you repeat that again?
So okay, these are for people who cannot afford to have a home.
Got it. Okay.
But then who are actually buying are other investors.
Yeah, exactly.
Correct.
Yeah.
It doesn't go to the right market that they are targeting. That's the problem.
So basically, they are basically say, oh, now people who cannot afford to buy a home, we're making it easier for you to afford a home, but you got to stretch your loan to the 60 years. Okay, I get it.
So like people who can afford 1 million one, they will not only buy my 1 million property, man, they will still go and buy the 300,000 property, man.
Yeah, they
Correct.
will.
And to me, when I hear this, right, if I get a chance to really like get one of those, imagine 60 years loan, right? My margin for the difference, my rental is going to be market rate,
Yep.
but the loan amount is going to be 60 years.
Your positive cash flow is very good.
Yeah. And unfortunately, then that becomes like a conversation for investors to ball again on the people who, on the less fortunate.
Right.
Yeah.
So basically, wait. This plan or whatever is only open to a certain type of people, or anyone can actually
I
get.
think it will be for certain type of people.
I see.
But
Okay.
that
Certain income class. As you said. Okay. Cool.
But then it's always on the books. So I've encountered like emails saying that for affordable houses, you need to pay bookings.
Right.
Like these are the people that don't have money to buy a house within. Now I need to pay certain amount just to reserve.
I see. So what you're saying is you're kind of disagreeing that people who cannot afford housing should be forced into really trying to buy a house when they cannot afford lah. When for these people who cannot afford to buy housing, you would probably encourage them to rent, right?
Yeah. Or to straight away go for those like the back to basics, low cost, medium cost. Because those are not free market products. You can't just walk in and go and buy a low cost.
Right.
You will go through very stringent processes. But then for this kind of affordable one, it's like in between. It's like in between free market, in between very strict regulations. Then like yeah.
Okay. Now then we go to the whole. Okay, now we're talking about renting. Now what about buyer's market? People say now right now is a good time to buy market. You know why? Because COVID has basically made the whole entire property market crash down. Right now, buy, and then every confirm go up one. Because that's the narrative that's been going around by a lot of property salespeople. They'd be like, sir, would you like to buy property now? Good time to buy. This one drop already. You buy now, confirm make money one. And I'm like, really? Then they keep quiet.
I think one of the big market now, especially, right, are people who are actually currently renting.
Yeah.
So you think about it, if I'm renting, I'm paying 700 for a room, right?
Yeah.
Let's say my girlfriend or wife or my sibling is also renting 700 a room. After 4 years, you basically get nothing.
Right.
So the thing is that if let's say you guys combine the income and you buy a property, right, you're paying 1,300 a month. After 3 to 4 years, right, I assume most likely at least you have a savings. So back to what Sean mentioned, right, it's more of a saving and more of a discipline rather than you keep paying rental and after 4 months you end up with nothing.
Yeah.
So at the very least, if you work hard, right, you move to a house first and then after 5 years you get promoted in your job. You want to buy a dream house, go ahead. But your first house that you own, right, definitely is still at least it's a savings for you. So that's how I look at it.
I kind of feel like, if you're going to pay more than $1,000 to go and rent some place, right, you should actually start to consider to buy a home already lah.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean if you're paying like 800, 500, okay, cool. It's not I'm not trying to downplay it and say that 500 is not a lot of money. It is still a lot of money to some people, but if you can afford to pay 1,000 for a nice place, to rent a nice place, you should actually be converting your mindset to say, hey, that 1,000 can actually service a loan that gets you your own place.
Yeah, correct.
Is that the correct mindset to think about it?
So just back to your statement where you cannot find properties where the rental is higher than installment.
Yeah.
That is exactly why this is happening, which is like, if I were to pay an installment if I were to pay a rental that is higher than an installment, why don't I just buy?
Correct.
Yes.
That's why for residential focus areas, right, you will very rarely come across projects with positive cash flow where your installment is lower than your rental.
Yeah, but everybody is having that mindset. It's like, oh, the minute I buy this house or investment, straight away I want it to get me rental higher than my installment.
Yeah.
And because everybody is thinking the same thing,
Yeah.
it's so competitive. But like my own apartment, right? Like the other guy, like everybody, like I was like trying to rent my place out for like 3,000 or something like that, right? And then same size. Same whatever, but like my house is nicer lah, okay? I like to take pride in my interior design. Some people were actually, so I want to rent my place out for $3,000, okay? Then the one below me, 2,200. I'm like, walao, $800 less. But it's empty lah. You know what I mean? Then obviously people will go for the 2002 one. They said, never mind, I'll just I'll just furnish it with what I need. I don't need. And then they'll be like, no, I don't. I know your house is nice, but I don't quite need the design. I need a place to stay. Is the necessity of what they're paying for right now? Is the need rather than the luxury of it? So if you want to pay for luxury, you rather buy your own house, right?
Correct.
Very, very different approach. Again.
Yeah, because everybody has a very different mindset.
Yes. Like to me, if I'm back to 25 again, I will buy investment products. Then I would rent a place that is way beyond the rental that I'm paying. Let's say if I were to pay 1,500, right? The installment gotta be way more than 1,500 for me to rent the place.
Yeah,
because like a lot of people, why they rent? Because they need to be there temporarily, like 3 to 5 years. So it doesn't make sense for them to own the place.
Yeah.
That's why they are willing to pay a rental that's so much higher than installment. So these are places where Mont Kiara, KL Central, KLCC, Bangsa South, and etc. But those commercial focus area, because by job design, I need to be there.
Okay. All right.
Yeah. So when you like, but I truly agree also. Like if the worst thing is like I keep having this excuse like, hey, my dream home too expensive, I cannot afford. So I spend on shoes first.
Yep. I think that's a very good point.
Sure. So they are constantly bombarded with all these kind of needs and wants, so-called
marketing.
Yeah. So they just got like, I'm losing out if I don't change my watch. If I'm losing out if I don't change my this, my that, right? Unfortunately, people who start with something at least, right? So the stats also show that people who buy a house, right? There's this concept called forced saving.
Right.
So at least
forced saving,
yeah. Because come to think of it, when the bank asks you for 1,500 every month, without fail,
you'll find a way to find it.
Yeah, you will make sure that you can pay. But when you come out 1,500 and to allocate it to another account is so difficult, right? So that's the discipline that we talk about. So my whole concept is, if you don't want to own a place, fine. Don't take that as an excuse to not invest your money.
Right.
May it be crypto, stock market, whatsoever lah.
Crypto, huh? Yeah, it's a trend now, huh?
Yeah, so but at least you do something with your money.
Right.
If not, you just like another good meal, then habis lor.
Yeah, understand. So, but now, okay, here's the trend. With whatever social media that everybody has these days, right? A lot of people want to buy houses, but when they want to buy houses, right? A lot of people, urban market, I won't say everyone. A lot of people tend to I want to buy a place that's luxurious. I want to buy a place that's nice, got nice amenities and everything. I like, are they, okay, so correct me if I'm wrong, but there are some developers that are coming out with the whole concept of like, hey, buy luxury, but with an affordable price. Mah Sing is one of them.
Yep, you're definitely one of them.
Yes. Care to explain?
Okay, so there's certain things that actually, let's say if you are building a high rise, right?
Yeah.
There's certain things that you want, especially a lifestyle. Especially with the COVID, you like to work from home. And you think about building a co-working space, right? It's actually not that expensive because now you have sharing with a lot of different other people.
Yeah.
Right? So you have these luxury things like a KTV room, swimming pool,
KTV
gym
room.
Yeah.
co-working space, even yoga den and things like that. In a certain way, when you are building a high rise and you add this little cost, right, it's actually not expensive, but it's something that I'm willing to pay. For example, if I'm paying 1,001 a month, would I mind paying 1,150 for a place that has KTV room, co-working space, commune kitchen, things like that? I think I would.
Oh, you guys are building a place that has all these?
Most of our projects have actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah, so most of our projects like Marisa, right, is very affordable. So if you're taking the house key, right, a 2-bedder will just cost you around 1,300 monthly or 1,200 monthly, and you have co-working space, you have KTV, you have swimming pool, and even the gym, the kind of things that we provide. So these are the lifestyle we feel like the youngsters are actually willing to pay a little bit more, just a little bit more to enjoy this.
For convenience.
Yeah, especially since MCO, right, you spend the most time at home.
Oh.
So now you're thinking, am I willing to spend 10% more for the kind of comfort? Actually, the answer is yes.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, because you own the place anyway.
So, okay, so this place that you're talking about, what's it called?
Okay, Marisa is one of them.
Marisa.
Yep.
Okay, so wait, you have a co-working space. How does that work?
So what happens is that, let's say the co-working space even has meeting rooms, it even has a conference where you can do a TV conference and all that. So if you're staying at an apartment, right, so basically entry to it is free.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's free. So for KTV room, it's also the same, but it's part of the maintenance. So you just book. If you're the first one to book the place, then you get the
KTV is like karaoke room, right?
Right. So especially nowadays, especially even live near the city, right? KL City, your space are normally not that big. If you want to host a big party and you don't want to go out, you can do it at all these shared areas like the KTV. We don't have a banquet hall, right, where you can organize your 21-year-old party, for your kids and whatsoever. So the good thing is that it's not within your own house. You can still live in a very comfortable place. But if you need all these amenities to enjoy a little bit more, you have it right down at your doorstep.
That's the sales pitch, guys. That's that's the sales pitch. No, I just found it very interesting how you incorporated a co-working space into a
condo. So
condo.
You just think
how many people can it accommodate?
Actually, it's quite big. It's relatively big. So you think about it, all these we call it date space or common areas, right? In the condominium, especially let's say you have a swimming pool, you have a gym, and then there's this date space. You can actually convert it. So in Mah Sing, we think about how do we reinvent spaces. That's one of our motto. So all these date spaces, can we transform it to something that people really like? So you notice that nowadays people like, let's say Sean, right? His work is very flexible. He works from home. He needs a studio. He don't really need to go to office space. So at least we incorporate that inside your own home. So if you're a mom, you're a freelancer, but you still need this office space and your home is too small, you can just go right down to level 3 or level 4. It's a common shared co-working space for you to use.
Is it open to public or only for residences?
No, it's only for residents.
Oh wow!
So
you basically, so in that, technically in a way, you're already marketing that whole building to people who are freelancers and business owners, lah.
True.
Don't you think that kind of limits your sales in a sense, or
not really, because for example, if you are forced to work from home, if let's say we are all forced to work from home, and something you still want to have the video conference,
right?
And, you've seen all these funny videos, right, where people having video conference and the kid come in, put them, they're in the underwear, things like that. But you still need a professional space to conduct your meetings, right? You can go just downstairs and then have a very corporate meetings with the TV screen and whatnot.
Oh.
Yeah.
Interesting. So go ahead.
So like these are for people because the living space for condos right now are smaller and smaller.
Yeah.
Correct.
So we go like 720 square feet, 850 square feet.
Sometimes when I see these houses, right, the way they advertise, all right, buy a luxurious place for from 300,000 onwards. I'm like, wow, 200 square feet. Cheap. Wow, it's like what the hell?
Not 200 200 is smaller than a hotel room. A hotel room is at least 280. But
Okay.
Anyway, but then like as the rooms are smaller, so now because of the sharing economy,
Right.
so like now common areas needs to be shared. So I don't need a huge dining hall all the time.
Okay.
So that's why because like the design for those kind of facility decks, right, are compliance based. So it's a requirement by the government for all developers to fulfill. But then these revisions of spaces are dated. Don't know last time. So but ever since MCO, so like new developers like them, then they reinvent certain things. Like last time it's called don't know, it's just a space. Because what dictates the function of the space are the furnitures inside.
Right.
So just by changing furnitures, then it becomes an appeal to a whole different crowd.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. That's very interesting. So is that the trend now? Developers building co-working spaces, more amenities? Because I see, they throw some developers, I throw a basketball court, I throw a badminton court, got gym, got KTV, that TV, MTV, whatever not, and now a co-working space. Is that your company's vision?
I think because nowadays expectations are also very high from the purchaser.
Yeah.
So when the purchaser, they move in with a family, right? They also think about, okay, if I cannot keep bringing my family to a park, what facilities within the condo itself can I bring my children to play and whatsoever? So you realize that, especially families who are buying, they love it when just below my house, I can bring my children to play basketball. I can bring them to play futsal. I can bring them to play pool. So when they kind of imagine the kind of life they can have in their apartment, right? Actually, it's very attractive for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay.
There's the expectation as well that they actually want this, so that within their own house they can actually have this social time with their kids. Especially KL, right, with the jam, or sometimes let's say I work until very late at 9 o'clock. I don't have the energy to go home, change, and bring my kids out.
Okay.
But if within the own space I can have a outdoor cinema, or have this little activities I can do with my kids, I think that helps a lot in the family life.
Okay. Sounds like what's the place called again? Marisa.
Marisa, yeah.
Where's it located?
Okay, so it's located in Sento. It's just 5 kilometers from KL Center.
Yeah, about like 500 from me. Oh, okay,
Yeah,
Sento in the
and
city
with that
center.
kind of pricing, right, that is really affordable. So
How much? From what?
A 2-bedder will cost you around 380,000 to 400,000.
In KL, is that good? Is that a good price in KL?
Yep.
Yeah,
Oh.
it's something that people can afford. So when we design the house, right, the first thing we look at is affordability.
Okay.
You can design the most beautiful house in the world, right? But in the end of the day, if nobody can afford, then who are you bidding it
Yeah.
for? Right. So with Mah Sing, you look at actually the majority of population in KL is actually 25 to 35 years old.
Okay.
These are the people who are really looking for their first house. And
yeah.
obviously, when you're 25 to 35, you cannot expect them to, all of them to have like 10,000, 20,000 income, right?
Yeah.
So if let's say them and the household income with them and their wife, the couple is around 7,000, then 1,003 to 1,004 is a very comfortable range to actually afford this house.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting. That's very interesting, because a lot of people will always assume that, to buy a comfortable house, I need 2.5 and above.
Correct. So ours is just 1,004. So you realize it's all an ecosystem. If you are selling at 1,004, right, definitely it would be harder for them to pay a rental of 2,005 for a house because they can now own the place at 1,004 a month. Yep. So it's all related in the ecosystem.
Interesting.
So a tip, if you were to let's say if you are paying already a rental of such, then owning then needs to be a conversation.
Yeah, it does. But then again, a lot of people will always bring this whole but it's very far. It's it's affordable. Yeah, I know, but it's very far. Then after that, they'll be like, yeah, it's affordable, but it's very small. That kind of thing. They'll always bring out all these type of questions because everybody has that sort of Malaysians they always try to find for the best bargain. And even they find the best bargain, already not good enough. I'll find another. Then they'll bring the best bargain, go another fella. Nah, you can top this bargain or not.
Yeah. So the biggest problem for purchasers, you can find the best location, best facilities, best suits your personality whatsoever lah. And the last thing that will not be the best is the price.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
If such a dream home exists, right, must it be for you? So while looking for that house, right, then I think if for me, right, if I were to look at that, if I were to go in at this price range, the rental rates can justify. So off of my head, rental in Sentoh, it's around that price.
Okay.
So if I were to rent and buy, so let's say if I were to stay in maybe the first 4 years, then I need to expand because the wife's also stomach also expand. then the family expand, right? Then if I were to just move out to a new place, can this place be rented out?
Oh, okay. That's a really smart strategy.
Yeah.
It's like you basically live within your means.
Yep.
And then obviously, 4 years later, you're going to get a promotion. You might get a promotion.
Yep.
You might get an increase in salary. Household income is going to go averagely higher. And that's where you can kind of, once you have that conversation and then move out. Actually, that's another good question I want to ask. When someone moves out, right, should they immediately sell their house? Should the thought of selling their house come first or rent the house out come first?
It depends whether you need the capital to buy your next house or not.
Okay. I mean, you're being very, very, very safe here. But But for you, when you live in a house, you go out, do you think of selling first or you think of renting it first?
Renting out first.
So that you can hold it lah.
Yeah. So my entire today and 12 years in the investment journey, right? I have not sold any before. Because all of them are generating a higher rental
Positive cash flow
than my installments.
Wow.
So when you have
when would you actually sell them?
The idea is not to sell them.
Oh, it's just like cryptocurrency.
Yeah. So it's imagine 10 years, 20 years, 30 years.
Yeah.
So the installment amount is going to be less and less.
Yeah, I got it.
And the rental is going to be up and up.
Okay. That's
so when you have 4 to maybe 8 different properties, which constantly gives you that positive cash flow.
Right.
Then the idea is to use this cash flow to spend on things that I really like.
Yeah, you're a baller, aren't you?
No lah, not.
He's gonna retire with 20 properties.
Yeah, it's I'll call it next week. Hey, what's up, man? No, nothing. I just bought 5 over the weekend. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, really? Yeah. It's a bit less than last weekend 7. But okay, when you buy properties, right? Do you buy a advice to people listening, right? Do you buy ready-made properties or can you trust properties that are like, okay, this is the plan, this is the picture, this is the 3D modeling. Give us your money and then wait 5 years. Because here's why I asked that question. A lot of people will come to you, they have a plan, they have a drawing, they have a set and everything. They'll tell you, buy now. Once this place confirm the value will go up 25%. Is that true or real? Is that real or false?
False.
Oh, okay. Thank you. Thank you very much. Because a lot of people always tend to say that. It's like, oh, you buy now, the minute you complete, it's 25% out. That's what happened to my first property. I won't name the developer. It's not you, definitely.
Right, sure.
Because that was their selling point. Like, the minute this place complete, 25% go up. I was like, really? Yeah. Wow, complete already. I saw like on iProperty.com, my price went down by 100,000. Like, man, I was a bit like, there was a hub that like literally there was the same unit that I had above me. They were selling less than my unit. So yeah, that was but then again, I was like, I came to terms with it. I'm living here. It's like fine.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay, that's good. It's great. At least I got that answer.
One of the main difference between why people buy new project over the sub-sale, right, is that sub-sale you come out with 10% down payment. Right, so if you buy a 500,000 sub-sale, right, most likely you need to come out with 50,000 of down payment, and then you need to pay your stamp duty and all that. It costs a lot of money.
Okay, you need to pay a 10% down payment legally?
Legally, yes.
Oh, really? Yeah. I can't just come to you like, hey,
cannot.
You're selling a house 500,000 lah. Never lah. I pay you in full lah. Give me 450. Cannot lah.
And it's not only 10 so in my channel I always emphasize 18.
18.
3% for stamp duty and then your legal costs, things like that.
Lawyer fee, bank lawyer fee, banker's fee.
But if you're buying a new property,
you
just pay 500 booking fee, get a loan approved, and if you're taking a house keys.
I love this guy's sales pitch. He keeps bringing in the product. Look at him go.
But the main difference is between like sub sales and new projects, right? Is the certainty.
Okay.
So like I may not know what the corridors look like. I may not know the swimming pool, how does it look like, and things like that.
Yeah.
So the only way to somewhat guesstimate the end product is to look into the previous project.
That's under the developer lah.
Yes.
So like track history lah.
Correct.
Okay, cool. All right. I mean, Mah Sing's Mah Sing's been around since like forever.
Yeah.
So it's been around since forever.
Yeah, too. Yeah. Okay, so that's the track record lah. Oh, okay.
So like for the difference between like rich investors and not so successful investors is they buy into certainty. So if I were to go for a sub-sale currently, I would go for something that is already making money.
Okay.
Because there's an existing data of rental.
Yeah, but wouldn't that be like super expensive then? You got to buy the futures of it.
Then because like for example, like 800,000 property right now.
Yep.
The rental currently like 3%, which is 2.4 thousand per month.
Yeah.
If the rental can somewhat be there, I will go for it.
Okay.
And it's very certain that I will get the return.
So this is basically sub-sale properties
benefit.
Okay.
And why a lot of people are not doing it? Because not everyone can walk around with 18% of 800,000.
Yeah, dude, it's really expensive.
Correct.
Okay.
So you notice a lot of investors, right? Actually, price is one thing, but they look at value.
Okay.
Right? Yeah, you can see 1.6 million is really expensive, but what if it gives you 5% return? Then they actually right. So there's MRT there. It's a certainty that I definitely can get 5%. They'll go for it.
Yeah lah, but these are people who are cash rich lah. I mean, it's safe to. I mean, I don't want to assume that everybody listening has got like a lot of money in their right, unless you're invested in crypto.
but then if you were to go on a similar approach, like for let's say for a project that he just mentioned, right?
Yeah.
A safe data to look at would be the existing surrounding rental rates.
Oh.
Yep.
So I'm gonna go to Marissa, then I have to look at your surrounding buildings and then go knock on the door. Excuse me, how much is it to rent this place?
Go to the website. Yeah. So if somewhat like let's say if today is that 1,500, your installment is 1,300.
Okay. That's a good. You will take it, right?
So it's a safer approach. So it's a calculated risk.
Okay, got it.
And it's an informed decision.
Okay.
Don't like next time like, oh, I kena con. Like, no, you pull the trigger yourself.
Okay. So obviously, Mah Sing is promoting the Marissa right now, because since you've been talking about it since.
Marissa, yeah. And then another thing is that actually most of our buyers now are actually end users. They're not really investors. So I mentioned 25 to 35, and it makes a lot of sense for them because they're really paying rent at the moment.
I love that sales pitch. I saw that. Another sales pitch coming again. Okay. But hey, actually, come and think of it, these end users can be potentially investors in the long run.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like you pay for what you own what you can afford now, but there will be other people who will probably take your place in terms of renting.
Yep. 5 years later, maybe like say you get a promotion and you want a better house, your wife, have more kids, you can move out. But at the very least, for 5 years, you've been saving up for this house.
Right.
So pretty much you can actually rent out and then you can actually go for your dream home or upgrade to a better home, things like that.
What's a good age to buy your dream home? When you retire, right? When you got kids, everything.
I think dream home changes. Like for yourself, when I buy A,
Yeah.
When I stay in A already, it's not my dream home.
Oh, yo. Yeah, it's like that. It always changes, dude. You probably be living in a house like a mansion like Jeff Bezos and you move in. Actually, not nice lah. I want to live in space. You know, that kind of, it always changes. No one can ever be contented. That's the problem with rich people.
No, but then like situation also change. Like for myself, like when I have a new kid, then like a 3-story house is a bad idea.
Oh.
Because I stay at the highest floor.
That's right. So you need a 5-story house.
No, I need to go.
Put the kid on the 5th floor and just leave him there.
Because the kitchen is on the ground floor.
Okay.
And every day I'm making like 20 to 25 trips upwards, downwards,
It's called exercise, dude. Look at me, like look at it from a different perspective.
But what if there's an accident? You just need one accident.
Oh,
You
man.
yeah. So like we don't want that to happen.
Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Fair
so-
enough.
yeah.
I have a kid, so I understand. Like
Yeah.
a freaking baby proof the whole freaking house just because
Yeah.
I got a kid.
Correct. So like when situation change, then you can then upgrade yourself. Then this becomes like again an excuse like, hey, I don't know where am I 3-5 years down the road,
Right.
so don't buy yet.
Okay.
But if you can buy something that with that comes with an exit strategy.
Right.
So back to that plan is if I were to buy something where the rental rate can cover if I want to rent out,
Got it.
then it makes a lot of sense.
That's interesting. That's very interesting.
Because what's going to happen to the saving is if I don't pay the bank 1,500, right, it's going to go somewhere. One.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
Yeah,
Somewhere.
it
We
is.
don't know where, but somewhere.
Can never, no.
Food, holiday, and then all these luxurious things that you don't need actually.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Ah man, life is like that, huh? Okay, cool. Now back. I'm gonna give you an opportunity to do your sales pitch again. Okay, but no, I'm gonna come back. So Mah Sing is having this promotion that's allowing people to basically own a house, and I mentioned earlier on, Mah Sing Group is now offering you a last chance to own a home with payment free up to 4 years. All right. Can you care to elaborate on that in detail? Actually.
Yeah, this is also actually part of our government's initiative. It's called Home Ownership Campaign, where actually
HOC.
HOC,
Oh, I see that everywhere.
correct. It actually encourages Malaysians, especially if you are just coming out to work, right, to own a house and make it easier for
I
you.
keep thinking that HOC is House of Champions because my friend Dennis Yin, he owns a gym. It's called HOC.
Shout out, Dennis.
Yeah, so what's up, Dennis? House of Champions, free plug there. Okay, yeah, sorry, go on.
Yeah, so actually the good thing, like what Sean mentioned the other time, right, is that if you want to buy a house, you need to take into account a lot of other costs. It's
Right.
not just your down payment, it's your legal fees, your MOT, 3%, 4%, 5%, and it adds up. So let's say you want to buy a 500,000 property, right? Without
Yeah.
this HOC, you'll be paying 25, 30,000 in cash for your
Upfront
legal-
lah.
upfront
Yeah.
and MOT. So with the HOC now, the government completely waive off this MOT.
I see.
So in a certain way, right, you think about it, which country in the world can you buy a house with just 500 ringgit? There isn't any. If you think about it,
You
right,
ever given me a chance to think yet? I'm trying to think really
you go to
hard.
Singapore, you go to Southeast Asia. You
Don't talk about Singapore lah. Singapore them kiasu. They'll never get you like your
Exactly.
property for 500. You go die lah you. Let's see.
Yeah, anybody can do their research at home, but Malaysia is the only place where if you just 500 ringgit, right, book a house that you like,
Really?
and you just pay installment.
Is this true, Sean?
Yes.
Really?
That's why it's a privilege. Like every time, right? Like when it's National Day, I feel so proud because like we can buy freehold.
Yeah,
Even
exactly.
East Malaysia cannot buy freehold.
Yes.
East Malaysia cannot buy freehold.
There's no freehold.
They have so much land. Oh well.
Let's not go there.
Okay, all right.
So yeah. So like land matters. If you were to really know, like our Malaysian land matters are very sophisticated.
Okay.
We use torrent system and things like that, but that one will bore everybody. But then the truth of the matter is like even the government is encouraging home ownership.
Yeah.
So like because the construction is one of the main place where they inject money if they want to boost up the economy.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when people buy houses, they get to construct roads, they get to construct things. Then when people buy and sell, they get taxes.
Got it.
So that's how they make money.
Yeah.
So like now, especially in this kind of crisis, right? They want to recover. They will need to go through all this.
Right. So okay. So back to this whole offer that Mah Sing's giving. You get payment free up to 4 years. It means what? You don't pay anything for 4 years.
Yep, so it depends on what year the project is completed. So if you're going for the newer projects, the MRE stuff, because it's only completing in 2023,
Yep.
right? The good thing is that you don't need to pay anything until you collect your keys.
All right.
So like I mentioned at the time, especially due to this COVID, right? You notice a lot of outstation people from Johor, Perak, Kelantan, Pahang, they're coming to KL to work.
Yeah.
So they're paying rent at the moment. So for these people, it's an absolute great deal to have where you can pay your rent now. Don't pay anything. You can choose your own home. Just pay 500 ringgit, get your loan approved. And only when you move in, then you start paying your installment. So we actually want to take away their burden of paying installment and rental at the same time.
So what, the installment of what, interest and everything?
Yep. Construction interest.
Construction interest.
Oh, okay. So
Yeah.
what happens if the home is already finished? Do you get the 4 years payment free?
No, I mean, if you are buying a project that is completing this year, like
Yeah.
M Centura, then definitely you will start paying immediately your installment.
Okay,
already.
got it.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's say, for example, if you're buying a property that is the 2 years down the road, so to 2 years you won't have to pay anything.
Yeah. So basically, you don't pay anything until you collect your keys.
Down payment, no.
Down payment only 500 ringgit.
500 ringgit. Okay,
Yeah. But this,
lawyer fee.
I must shout this out that this is a Maybank house key scheme that Maybank work with the government to actually implement this scheme to let people get houses the easier way.
Right.
Yeah.
So,
it's
okay.
only for Maybank house key. Yeah.
Lawyer fee, no.
Low.
What fee?
Don't need to think about anything. Just 500 ringgit.
Sure not.
Yes.
What other fee? Lawyer fee,
A lot of valuation fee.
valuation fee,
Bank, administration fee.
intro free, friend fee.
Oh yeah. No.
So wait, what? Okay, wait. So this Marissa, I'm sure you have other projects.
Yeah.
What's the price? From what?
For 2 beta, it's around 380 to 430.
200 lah. I take today. Can. No
I
problem.
think I told my boss, then they can actually do more campaigns.
200, I take a few. Okay.
210 I take now. Can. No problem.
And you'll see actually, Jim has been actually fired from the company. Yeah, but it's 2 bedroom, it's around 380 to 420. If you think about it, it's freehold.
Okay.
5 kilometers from KL City Centre.
Yeah.
So I mean, pretty good deal. And like what Sean mentioned, we did our research as well because I love property as well. There's no other countries, right, that you can buy a property for just 500 ringgit.
Yeah, heard
Freehold,
that, Singapore.
Freehold.
Heard that, huh? Heard that. Heard that, USA. Faster come buy property, help us boost our economy. We need all the help we can get right now, you know?
Yeah.
So, okay, I'm just going to say this one more time. Mah Sing is giving you a last chance to own a home with payment free up to 4 years. I think Jim just actually explain the many things that you need to pay in order to get your home. Obviously, you pay 500 ringgit as a booking fee, and once your loan is approved, everything is all done, and you only start paying once it's good. Like if you're actually, I thought I did this way though. When I bought my property, right, I remember I didn't have to pay anything for 3 years because they had some DIBS to me.
Correct.
So for me, it's like, in these 3 years, I'm going to accumulate as much as I can, so I can, it helps eases my burden. So that was my strategy.
Yep.
So I had like a separate fund where I put money in so that when the house was done, right, I could use that to also start paying my loan and then slowly build the whole mountain of cash. If you want to visit more, or you want more information, visit mahsing.com.my/come home to Mah Sing. Chewa. So homey. Yeah. But thank you so much, guys, for your time today.
Thank you.
Sure.
I hope for those of you listening, you kind of basically took away a thing or two if you are especially looking for a place to make your own. Or if you're currently renting and you're in transition to think that, I have this extra bit of cash because of my promotion. Should I buy or should I rent a nicer place? So hopefully this answers all of your questions. Huh? I like doing property podcasts. Makes me feel rich when I'm not. So I'm just waiting for Mah Sing to give me that offer,
Sure, I'll work something out with my boss.
Yeah, I heard Icon City is a nice place to have an office. Thank you. I was just there to do a few things. So, anyways, if you guys want more information, we'll leave a link in the description box. We will also leave a link in our podcast episodes. I'm just going to say it one more time. www.mahsing.com.my/come home to Mah Sing. Before we go, Sean, you want to say anything?
Start investing.
Everything. Yeah. Okay. Yes, Mister. Like shop for 5 hours over the weekend. Yeah, but true. It's really good advice to start investing. Start small. People always think that must buy a mansion so that the returns will be better.
Yeah.
That's never the case.
Correct.
Again, before we go, any last words?
I know. Thank you so much, and come home to Mah Sing.
Well, I tell you, I thought he was going to do another sales speech. All right. Anyways, thank you so much, guys.
Thank
we
you
will
so much.
speak
Pleasure.
to you guys next time.